the wounded, the Enterprise goes after a rogue captain to avert a certain war.
We begin with the Enterprise near the Cardassian sector, an alien race who the Federation apparently has an uneasy treaty with.
So we have not seen or heard of the Cardassians at all up to this point, but Picard lets us know his past experience with them.
They had taken out most of my weapons and damaged the impulse engines before I could regroup and run.
I like how he looks nostalgic when he's talking about running away from attacking aliens.
Yeah. O'Brien's marriage is going great.
He doesn't like Keiko's gross food, and then he says he'll make something for her later.
The show's getting a little racy there, too.
Maybe I'll have something special for you tonight, too.
Then the ship shakes, and O'Brien's Starfleet training lets him know that
something's wrong.
The Cardassians are firing at the Enterprise, so Picard shoots back when they refuse to answer their hails.
And the Cardassian captain says they are at war because a Cardassian station was destroyed by a Federation vessel.
The Cardassian is Gul Macet. He's played by Mark Alimo, who we've seen before in this show. He played that dog thing in Lonely Among Us, and he played a Romulan in The Neutral Zone. Picard requests 1 hour to find out what really happened.
And luckily, Starfleet is able to confirm immediately that Ben Maxwell, the captain of the Phoenix, has apparently gone rogue.
They task Picard to go find him inside Cardassian territory. Picard lets 3 Cardassians beam over to join the search. When they're first shown, the Cardassians are wearing these dumb face things, but eventually they thankfully take them off. How did you feel about their makeup?
I thought it was surprisingly elaborate and effective.
Agree.
Gul Macet doesn't trust the Enterprise crew, and Picard and Riker do a great job of making it seem like he is right to feel that way.
In fact, we have no idea where it is. We thought the last known coordinates were a reasonably good place to start.
O'Brien has previously served with Maxwell, so Picard wants him in on the talks, and he's not too happy about it.
He tells them that Maxwell's family was killed in a Cardassian raid.
And of course, he ends up in a turbolift alone with just the Cardassians because plot.
And although they talk to him in a respectful, reasonable manner, he is very antagonistic toward them.
But who I choose to spend my free time with, that's my business.
They discover the location of the Phoenix, but Picard refuses to tell the Cardassians exactly where it is.
Picard won't give the Cardassians some proprietary information to find the ship faster.
O'Brien makes a gross potato casserole for Keiko.
And he's singing a song he used to sing on Maxwell's ship. And I could not imagine anyone singing songs on the Enterprise. But then...
Come cheer up, my lads, 'tis to glory we steer, to find something new in this wonderful year.
He tells her he doesn't understand why some people still seem to have animosity toward the Cardassians.
When 5 minutes earlier...
But who I choose to spend my free time with, that's my business.
They find the Phoenix pursuing a Cardassian supply ship, and Gul Macet finally convinces Picard to give the coordinates to a Cardassian warship that is nearby.
And then we get a sweet D&D battle from Data.
The warship is 300,000 kilometers from the Phoenix. It is opening fire. The Phoenix has taken a direct hit. The Phoenix has powered up both phasers and photon torpedoes. The Phoenix is firing photon torpedoes.
Maxwell ends up destroying both of the Cardassian ships, killing over 600 people.
When Picard talks to O'Brien, O'Brien says the Cardassians must have been up to something for Maxwell to go after them, but Picard doesn't seem to buy it. He sets O'Brien to rethinking his perspective.
O'Brien apologizes to the Cardassian from earlier, which was really surprising from a character on this show.
Agreed. That's why he's not one of the main cast.
He recalls his own past experiences with Cardassians.
I'd never killed anything before. When I was a kid, I'd worry about swatting a mosquito.
How would that Cardassian know what a freaking mosquito is?
Good question. And the Cardassian reveals that the attack that killed Maxwell's family was based on bad intelligence.
Worf catches one of the Cardassians at a computer terminal, checking out their weapons, and he is sent to his room like a child. And his excuse was also that of a child.
I was studying the terminal interface systems. They're more efficient than ours. I have no idea what was in the files.
What an idiot.
Golmacet thanks Picard for being so understanding and says that he sympathizes with his desire for peace.
They intercept the Phoenix and beam Maxwell aboard, and of course, he's played by Bob Gunton, who usually plays arrogant, overconfident jerks, and it made me angry just knowing it was him.
Agreed.
He's mostly well known for the Shawshank Redemption, but he's also in things like Demolition Man.
And he played the Owl in the Netflix Daredevil show. He recognizes O'Brien and says he didn't know he was on the Enterprise, but then he says he was the best tactical officer he'd ever had, and those two statements didn't quite seem right.
Starfleet's pretty big.
Yeah, but if it was the best tactical officer he's ever had, you'd think he'd try to keep some kind of tabs on him.
You keep track of all the people that used to work at your company that don't work there anymore?
I stalk them literally every single day on Facebook, so yes.
Maxwell claims that the Cardassians are planning on violating the treaty, and when Picard asks how he knows,
it's clear that he's working on hunches instead of actual information.
How do you know this?
Information comes my way.
From whom? Where is your documentation?
I know what they're doing.
And even knowing what a loose cannon he is, Picard lets him go back to his ship with all his lasers and space bombs and says they'll go to a starbase together.
Which was kind of stupid.
And of course, in about 30 seconds...
Captain, the Phoenix has changed course.
And Golmacet is still on the Enterprise at this point.
Maxwell hails them.
The perspective on the view screen accentuates Maxwell's lack of stability.
He hails them and demands they board the Cardassian ship to see he's been telling the truth.
The Enterprise is unable to scan the Cardassian ship, but Picard refuses to beam anyone over.
They end up sending O'Brien over to the Phoenix to talk Maxwell down.
And he manages to get through to Maxwell and show him that he is being guided by his own prejudices.
Through the ultimate power of song.
He hath girded on, and his wild heart slung behind him.
Then they do what they should have done in the first place, and confine Maxwell on the Enterprise.
Picard reveals to Macet that he believes the supposed supply ship is not a supply ship.
And then he warns Golmacet.
And awesomely turns away.
We'll be watching.
The Wounded. Overall?
I question why they decided to come up with what seems to be a major new race out of nowhere when we already have so many, especially when they make them seem like they've been so important in the past even though we've never heard of them. It wasn't a bad thing, it was just weird. The tension throughout the episode between the Cardassians and the Enterprise crew was very effectively and convincingly portrayed, and I liked the exploration of how both sides viewed each other. I also liked the overall themes of the episode, and I get that they had O'Brien act the way he did to show a parallel to Maxwell, but it was a little over the top at first, especially when he talked about it to Keiko and was apparently unaware of how he had acted earlier. Thankfully, that's my only real complaint about the episode. I liked the Cardassians, who were less simplistic than most of the races we've seen and felt more like real people. I liked the ambiguity as the episode went on about whether or not they were telling the truth, which was handled with the kind of subtlety that earlier episodes like Legacy could have benefited from. I liked how Picard handled things in a thoughtful and logical way, and I liked how the episode ended, with things able to go in many different directions in the future. I gave it an A-.
I also gave it an A-. It was very interesting to get a brand new threat out of nowhere. They don't seem as fixed as the Romulans, and I also like at the end this situation is left wide open. We've heard all these characters in this show talk about how great Picard's diplomacy skills are, and to me, this is a time where I actually believed those people. I thought the exchanges between Macet and Picard and the events that drove them were really solid writing. I also thought it was nice that after the wedding, Keiko is still a thing, but her and O'Brien's exchanges kind of fizzled out. They could have had something where they both discussed the Maxwell situation and gotten her perspective, but instead, it just boiled down to, I don't like Cardassians or this gross-ass food. O'Brien has been getting a lot of character development lately, and I wouldn't have picked him as a prime candidate based on what little screen time he's had so far. And it's good to know that he's also prepped for the musical episode when we get to that one in season 6.